Jörmungandr is a dragon serpent, so unimaginably massive that its body acts as the physical belt holding the planet together, its fangs locked eternally around its own tail in the crushing oceanic depths. If this primordial leviathan ever releases its grip, it will trigger Ragnarok, the apocalyptic end of everything. The sky itself will be poisoned, and the seas will violently flood the land, ensuring total cosmic collapse. Born as one of Loki's 3 monstrous children, the serpent was thrown into the abyss by Odin as a mere infant. The god hoped it would drown. Instead, it grew. It grew so incomprehensibly large that it wrapped the entire circumference of the earth, with enough spine left over to bite down on its own flesh. Thor once unknowingly tried to lift it when a giant disguised the beast as a cat. He raised only one paw off the ground, and that fraction of movement nearly ripped the beast into the stratosphere. When Ragnarok finally dawns, Thor will slaughter the creature with his hammer, but the details of his victory are brutally specific. Thor will walk exactly 9 steps before dropping dead from the serpent's venom. The toxin is so lethal that even after the dragon's death, it murders a god. While Jörmungandr sleeps in the abyss waiting to end the world once, our next dragon attempts to orchestrate a nightly apocalypse. Apophis is a primordial dragon serpent whose unfathomable coils stretch across the entire Egyptian underworld. Its sole relentless purpose is to devour the sun god Ra every single night without fail. Success would plunge reality into permanent, irreversible darkness. The creature possesses a hypnotic, paralyzing gaze that freezes gods in their tracks, and its roar alone fractures the bedrock of the underworld. It attempts to trap Ra's solar boat by coiling its massive body into a suffocating sandbank, flooding the subterranean waters to drown the vessel. Solar eclipses were the terrifying moments when the dragon actually succeeded in swallowing the sun, temporarily achieving its apocalyptic goal. But this beast cannot be permanently killed. Every single night, Ra and his defenders slaughter it, and by the very next evening, it resurrects completely, ready to tear the sun from the sky. Ancient Egyptians were so terrified of this cycle that they created wax models of the serpent, spitting on them, stabbing them, and burning them in elaborate rituals, genuinely believing their mortal actions prevented eternal night. While Apophis relentlessly attacks the sun, another beast has spent eternity gnawing on the very foundations of existence. Níðhöggr is the malice striker, a terrifying cosmic dragon burrowed deep below the earth, actively chewing through the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree that holds all 9 realms of reality together. The tree's roots are the only barrier preventing total cosmic collapse. If this dragon succeeds, reality falls back into primordial chaos. As it relentlessly gnaws at the wood, it simultaneously chews on the rotting corpses of murderers, adulterers, and oath-breakers condemned to Nostrand, the most agonizing sector of the Norse underworld. A squirrel named Ratatoskr sprints up and down the colossal tree, carrying vicious insults between the dragon at the roots and a wise eagle at the canopy. This fuels a blinding hatred. Their constant, escalating tension causes both creatures to attack Yggdrasil in absolute fury, shredding it further. When Ragnarok arrives, the dragon will have gnawed through enough of the roots that the world tree will yellow and die. Níðhöggr will break free, flying up from the underworld with a horrific payload of corpses on its back, its ultimate fate lost to the burning void. From destroying the roots of reality, we look to the sky, where a far more insatiable beast hunted the stars themselves. Bakunawa is an abyssal dragon serpent that literally consumed 6 out of the 7 moons that once illuminated the ancient Philippine sky. Living in the pitch-black oceanic trenches, it became obsessed with the brilliant light of the gods and decided to possess it. If Bakunawa succeeds in devouring the final moon, humanity will be cast into eternal, inescapable darkness. The creature rose from the sea, swallowing entire moons whole. Each time it lunged into the sky, Massive, cataclysmic earthquakes shook the earth. Inside its belly, the celestial bodies melted away like candle wax, yet the dragon was never satisfied. Enraged, it kept feeding until only one moon remained. When the serpent lunged for the seventh sphere, humans rushed the shores. They banged pots, pans, and war drums, screaming into the night. The sudden, deafening cacophony startled the beast so severely that it spat the final moon out just before swallowing it. To this day, lunar eclipses are the dragon's continued, doomed attempts to finish its cosmic meal. It is trapped in a cycle of endless hunger. Speaking of insatiable appetites, the next monstrosity had 8 mouths to feed and a horrifying taste for human flesh. Yamata no Orochi is an apocalyptic 8-headed, 8-tailed dragon serpent so unimaginably gigantic that its moss-covered body simultaneously stretched across exactly 8 valleys and 8 hills. It terrorized the Japanese landscape, systematically devouring young women, threatening to consume the population until none remained. It had already eaten 7 daughters from a single, terrified family and was slithering back for the 8th. The storm god Susanoo devised a desperate trap. He commanded the family to brew 8 gigantic barrels of maximum strength sake and place them on 8 isolated platforms. When the beast arrived, every single head found a barrel and drank deeply. All 8 heads chugged the lethal rice wine simultaneously. The dragon collapsed in a paralyzed stupor, sprawled across the landscape. Susanoo seized his blade and violently hacked the unconscious monster apart. As he sliced through the flesh, his blade struck something impossibly hard, hidden deep inside the 4th tail. Ripping it open, he pulled out the legendary Kusanagi sword. The monster had somehow swallowed a divine weapon, carrying it lodged in its flesh until its brutal defeat. Not all dragons were born as landscape dwarfing monstrosities. Some actively chose to become them through pure, corrupting malice. Fafnir is a dragon born not of primordial magic, but of a dwarf whose greed was so malignant it physically mutated him into a venomous, scaly beast. After murdering his own father to steal a cursed treasure hoard, his obsession consumed his humanity. Left unchecked, his toxic presence poisoned the surrounding earth into a desolate wasteland, cursing anyone who sought his gold to a violent, catastrophic death. He crawled to the desolate Gnita heath, breathing a toxin so potent it manifested a literal terror helm, a supernatural aura of fear that paralyzed victims before they could even draw their weapons. Fafnir lay on his gold for years, growing larger and infinitely more lethal. But the gold demanded blood. The hero, Sigurd, dug a trench beneath the dragon's regular path. When the colossal serpent slithered overhead to drink, Sigurd thrust his sword Gram straight upward, piercing the soft, unarmored underbelly. As it bled out, the dragon actually spoke. It looked at its killer and transferred the lethal curse, warning Sigurd that the gold would violently end his life too. The prophecy held true. The curse slaughtered everyone who dared touch the hoard. While Fafnir was destroyed by a single upward thrust, our next dragon proved virtually indestructible, regenerating its flesh as fast as it was severed. Zmey Gorynych is an apocalyptic 3-headed Slavic dragon with steel-hard scales and enormous bat-like wings that blacken the sky. It demands a relentless tribute of youth, threatening to depopulate the entire world into a blood-soaked graveyard if unfed. It breathes blazing hellfire from all 3 mouths simultaneously. The hero, Dobrynya Nikitich, fought this terror and wounded it, forcing the beast to beg for mercy. They forged a truce. The dragon immediately shattered its oath, swooping down to kidnap the hero's own niece and drag her into its abyss. Dobrynya tracked the beast down, sparking a second battle that raged for exactly 3 days and 3 nights of continuous, earth-shattering combat. Dobrynya finally slaughtered it by severing all 3 heads. But the nightmare wasn't over. The dragon's cursed blood refused to seep into the earth, pooling like a toxic lake. A voice from the heavens ordered the hero to drive his spear into the soil and recite an incantation. Only then did the earth absorb the gore. The hero was forced to throw the severed heads into separate rivers and bury the mangled body in isolation, ensuring it could never stitch itself back together. Even a regenerating, three-headed terror pales in comparison to the primordial serpent that held the lifeblood of the entire planet hostage. Vritra is a cosmic dragon serpent so unfathomably vast that it swallowed every single drop of water on Earth and locked it inside its own impenetrable body. It didn't just block a river. It drank every ocean, every lake, every stream. Without water, the planet faced a complete, irreversible global extinction from catastrophic drought. The world withered as Vritra coiled its massive bulk around the tallest mountains, sealing the oceans within its flesh. The gods were powerless. They were forced to forge the Vajra, a supreme divine thunderbolt, arming the god Indra for a suicide mission. The ensuing battle shook the very foundations of reality. Indra had to systematically obliterate exactly 99 of the dragon's impenetrable fortresses before he could even deliver the killing blow. When the Vajra finally struck true, Vritra's corpse violently split apart. All the waters of the world burst forth in a catastrophic, deafening flood, rushing back to refill the dry ocean basins. The enveloper was dead, and life was violently reset. While Vritra commanded the earthly waters, our next dragon commands the fundamental laws of time and the cosmos itself. Zhulong, the torch dragon, is a colossal scarlet deity with a horrifying human face and a serpent's body extending thousands of miles across the mythical Mount Zhong in ancient China. If Zhulong were to ever lose control of its bodily functions, the structure of day, night, and seasons would violently shatter, plunging the world into erratic, lethal chaos. This creature does not eat. It does not drink. It does not breathe normally. The mechanics of its existence are terrifyingly absolute. When it opens its eyes, it is exactly day. When it closes them, the world is instantly plunged into pitch-black night. A single inhale from its lungs summons an apocalyptic, freezing winter, and its exhale conjures a scorching, flesh-melting summer. It cannot be defeated. It cannot be slain by gods or heroes. Instead, Zhulong is eternally bound to its cosmic duty, a terrifying, hyper-vigilant prisoner of its own unfathomable power, forced to maintain the delicate rhythm of the universe without a second of rest. While Zhulong controls the unyielding cycle of the heavens, our final dragon was born from the very blood of a creator god, ruling the violent extremes of weather. Kuraokami is a ferocious Japanese dragon of winter and torrential rain, born violently from a divine execution. If unleashed without restraint, its paralyzing power over ice and storms would freeze the oceans and drown the valleys, ending all human life in a glacial tomb. The genesis of this beast is soaked in gore. It was forged when the creator god Izanagi, blinded by grief, used his legendary sword to hack his own son, the fire god Kagutsuchi, into exactly 8 bloody pieces. Kuraokami slithered directly out of the pooling, burning blood dripping from the sword's hilt, a creature of ice born from the death of fire. It wields the catastrophic force of blizzards and flash floods. It is never truly vanquished by force. Instead, it must be constantly appeased through ancient Shinto blood rituals, trapped in the freezing, oxygen-starved mountain peaks where it sleeps in a fragile, icy slumber. If the rituals stop, the Ice Age returns. If you survived this descent into primordial chaos without getting devoured, paralyzed, or flooded, you might as well subscribe. The algorithm demands a sacrifice, and unlike Bakunawa, I won't spit you out.